G'day, everyone. This is the Heroes Podcast, and today we have someone from America, Inga Faye. How are you today?
I'm so good, Indra. Glad to meet with you again.
Thanks for being here. And before we dive into your story, I want to introduce you so everyone knows who we are meeting today. So Inga is a confidence coach. She has worked as a mechanical engineer in a chemical plant for 20 plus years. It's interesting, huh? How did she get it? Became the coach that we're talking to today. She left her engineering career to follow her entrepreneurial spirit. She now pursues her dream life full of faith, family, freedom, flexibility, and fitness. She enjoys empowering women. She now pursues her dream life. Oh, back again. So to live, hang on. She enjoys empowering women to live their best life. She helps women become top earners by building relationships that treat people like humans and not numbers. Well, that is very powerful. I love how you formulated your new brand. Tell us, Inga Faye, what was the beginning for you? How did you start this journey?
Well, I started this journey as a mechanical engineer. Very not a people person, very much kind of self-conscious about myself, very cognizant of the people around me, really didn't let my true self out until I got a feel for the people around me. I would do a lot of observing and making sure that the people around me were cool enough to really see Inga, is what I would say. And then as I started my direct sales business, I just kind of came out of my shell because I felt like I had to. I had a lot of extrovert uplines around me, and I felt like to be successful, I had to emulate what they were doing, talking to people that they didn't know, just kind of carrying on a conversation, talking about a particular topic that seemed like it was in common with the person that was in front of me, and then eventually talking about my direct sales business. So when I think about where I started and where I am now, it's just a complete 360 on what I've done. But at the time that I was doing this, some of the things that I was doing didn't really truly feel good to me. I felt like I was doing it because I had to do it more so than doing it because that's what resonated with me. So that's what really helped me come up with my coaching offering, which is the Relationship Accelerator, and as well as my DIY offering, which is the Savvy Survey System, to really help people that are like me and have introverted tendencies, but still want to build a direct sales business and be a top earner, but stay within their innate gifts to do that.
This is powerful. I love the journey, but tell me, how did you feel in this? If we go back one step, that coming from a chemical plant, I'm still picturing you there to sales, to really show up in front of people and become a people person. How?
Well, that's what I was saying. It was an evolution. I mean, I was one of those people that really didn't talk to people I didn't know. So I remember the first thing that I did was when I went out and about and saw people, I just kind of smiled at them. Just because, I would have eye contact with them. I could smile at them. And that was like my first step. So if it was like, okay, I did that. They smiled back. Okay, that's good. Okay, so now I'm going to actually look at them in their face, smile at them and say, hello. It's the little things, it's just the little step-by-step things. So I did that. Okay, now I'm going to go up and I'm going to say hello and then give them a genuine compliment because that's what I was taught to do. And it would have to be something genuine. It couldn't be, I saw somebody looking crazy like a bum. There's nothing wrong with being a bum, but I'm just saying somebody that wasn't looking good. And I said, oh, you look great. Okay. No, I had to be authentic. Okay. So I had to come up with things. So the thing that really resonated with me was I'm a shoe lover. And if it's shoes and it just happens to have animal print, then you're like really like my best friend. Okay, so if I saw somebody with a pair of cute shoes on that also had animal print, oh, it was on and popping, because I knew I could talk to that person for days, because I already knew how to look at them in the eye. I already knew how to smile at them. I already knew how to say hello. Now, the next thing was, girl, where'd you get those shoes? Those are cute to death. And then they would just start talking to me, because we had that in common, right? We had that instant connection, because obviously if they're wearing the shoes, they feel the same way about the shoes as I do. I just don't happen to have them on at this particular time. So that's exactly what I did. And then as the conversation started going, I would then ask them if they were interested, if they had ever tried my product. And then based on that, how it went from there, I just flowed with the conversation. So that is how I evolved over time. I know I had so many people tell me as a mechanical engineer when I got laid off, because they get laid off too. I had somebody say, oh, I didn't think y'all got laid off. Girl, we working a job just like you. We make more money, but we get laid off just like everybody else. So they laid me off, and I had that decision. It was kind of my line in the sand to decide, okay, am I going to be an engineer, continue to be an engineer, or am I going to really pursue this entrepreneur thing that I've been talking about, that I said I always wanted to do, but I was just kind of scared. Now I have this opportunity to make this thing come to fruition. Am I going to do it, or am I just going to talk about it? Because, you know, you got the people that's talking and the people that's doing the action, and they're two different people. So I decided that I was going to be an action taker. And I was like, if I don't do it now, I'll probably never do it. And that's what I did. And this happened to happen like 6 weeks before all the shutdown with COVID, you know, when the total world was shut down. So it was timing was everything. And I sit back and I think, well, if for whatever reason COVID came 6 weeks earlier, would I have walked away or not? Well, I'm glad I don't have to. I'm glad I don't have to know what I would do, because it didn't happen that way. So,
What a
sure.
powerful story. I really love, ladies and gentlemen, you just heard the steps to building rapport, because it looks like you've done it tiny little steps.
Right.
And then the breakout after the breakdown, which is
Yeah.
laid off. Not a fun place to be. And then making a decision and doing rather than talking.
Right. Exactly.
Wow, this is a formula to making change in life. Would you agree?
Oh, I would totally agree. I would totally agree. And I think so many times we're held back by fear, the what ifs of whatever we're about to do. And oftentimes these what ifs are very negative, you know, and those were some of the things that did run through my head. Okay, so, all right, I got laid off. So what if I can't pay my bills when I do this? You know, how am I going to provide for my family? We've become accustomed to this lifestyle. How am I going to continue to do that? How am I going to continue to provide for them and have the lifestyle? Because I don't want them to have to sacrifice, because I made this decision to pursue my business full time. How are we going to make this happen? How are we going to get through? So yeah, that was definitely resonating in my head, but I always knew that my past, well, yeah, I'll say my past and my future, I didn't want the past and the future, to rob me of my presence. That whatever I did today was going to make the future what I wanted it to be, or whatever I didn't do today was going to make the future what I didn't want it to be. Because at the end of the day, fear is what holds us back from doing for many of us to take the action required for us to get to where we want to go. That we get so paralyzed by the fear that we do nothing. And us doing nothing, then what we're thinking in our head ends up coming to fruition, because we didn't take action. We weren't creative. We weren't innovative, because at the end of the day, that's what's going to help us go to that next level. Oftentimes when you're in a job, a 9 to 5, you're not really being creative. You're just kind of grinding. You're just doing what you think everybody else is supposed to be doing. I'm going to go to work from 9 to 5, then I'm gonna get off, pick up my kid, maybe go to a ball game or take them to practice, feed them something, then start all over again. We don't really come to understand what it takes to build something until we're an entrepreneur and we have to figure it out. And we realize that our creativity and our innovation is what's going to feed our family, instead of relying on someone to give us a paycheck and do what they help them build their dreams. I'll say it that way. And then when things don't go their way, they decide they're going to lay them off or lay us off. And we did our part. They just maybe made bad decisions or didn't do something right. And as a result of their bad decisions or not doing something right, we're the one penalized for it so they can save themselves. So it's definitely a different thought process that I know many of us probably think about. But at the end of the day, I just want you all to know that take the leap. I mean, if I guess that was the thought process I had, that if I took the leap, I could always go back to engineering. But I realized over time, I had to really take that away, because at some point I felt like I was still thinking, well, if it doesn't work out, I can just get a job, but I don't want a job. So I had to really I had to literally stop saying that. That is not an option. Me getting a job is going back to the 9-to-5 life. The journey of the broke is what I've heard for job, J-O-B, journey of the broke, was not an option for me. That I'm figuring this out. That's where I marked the line. And I could see that my business and my creativity started really growing as a result of me making that line in the sand, instead of saying, oh, I can always go back, because that's what I used to say in the beginning. But again, just evolving over that time frame, I realized, no, it's no longer an option.
Well, literally you burnt the bridges, and I think those bridges were burning behind you in your head. That's what I hear. And I believe that's one of the hardest psychological breakthroughs from employee to entrepreneur. But there was also one more that I heard from you, and I want to highlight this because these are the golden nuggets that just keeps coming from you, is your innovation and your creativity feeds your family. These two will produce the results, because probably would you want to expand on this, that entrepreneurial journey is a constant growth if
for sure
one wants to produce.
Yes, and it's very different than the 9-to-5 journey. The 9-to-5 journey is very I won't say regimented, I'll say it's very laid out and everybody knows about it. It's you go to school, you get your degree, you work for XYZ company for 30 plus years, and you get your gold watch. Now, I'm sure that's the commonplace, whether you are in America, Australia, Hungary, wherever you are. That's typically what they teach you, right? That's what they want us to do. But then as an entrepreneur, it's not laid out like that. What you're given is the step that you are to do today. And you must take that step to find out what the next step is. But oftentimes we're so paralyzed in fear that we don't want to take that step. And then we're just like, well, I don't think it's going to work out. Well, no, it's not going to work out if you're not taking action, because you're given the step that you're supposed to take today. And the next step is not given to you until you take that first step. And then as you look over time, you can go back. It's like a staircase. You look down, it's just like, wow, I was all the way down there and now I'm up here. And I never thought I was up here like that. That's why it's so important for you to journal your journey, so you can really see where you have evolved from down there all the way up here. So that's another thing that I think is very key when you are an entrepreneur. Sometimes we can get so caught up in just the grind of, innovation and creating things, but we need to take the time, for one, to be grateful, writing those 3 things down that we're grateful about, so we can celebrate the small wins that we're making. And then 2, document the journey, so you can see, you can go back and look. I was down here today, I'm up here now. Wow, I never would have thought that I would have evolved like that in that period of time.
It's very insightful. And I also wanted to add that, as we heard, there are these steps daily, but sometimes the step is not there. It has to come from you.
Yeah.
And it may not work at all. You could end up in a dead end, and then your business is asking you, are you ready to change what you
Exactly.
do? Are you ready to play another level? Because that psychology will run your next steps. Rather than self-pity, it's time for you to show up again and do something different until you attract new results. Very powerful insights, Inga. So what would you say to someone who is, you've told a lot, but what would be the 3, 5 things someone who is, tiptoeing into business, or thinking or
Doing a
talking
lot of
about it,
thinking. Yeah, talking about it.
to
Yeah.
put the pressure or put themselves into the shoes to take that journey? How would you help that person who's maybe listening to us and they are before the breakout?
Well, I think one thing that I have learned, that for you really to be in it to win it, is that you got to take your safety net away, or even just kind of talk about what you speculate could happen if for whatever reason this thing went south. Okay. So I know over my journey, that is something that I had to do. So if something was to go down, Inga, and something didn't work out, what would you do? What are the steps that you're going to take to really be in it to win it? Are you going to get a job? Are you going to maybe do something on a part-time basis where you still have some kind of money coming in, where you can still focus on it? Maybe just get a contract where you're working, for the most part, you're normally working 5 days a week. Maybe do some kind of contract that would allow you to work just 1 day a week to keep some money coming in, so you can still dedicate those other 4 days to your business. Not because I can just tell you now, if you go and get your job, and I know people have the best intentions, well, I'm just going to work this job for 3 or some months. You're not going to have the level of detail and really the stick-to-itiveness that you would have if you were just doing it by itself. Because one thing we all know, that when you work a job, they give you the time frame that you're supposed to work, but you're going to be working more than that. We already know that, right? And typically, if you're a salary person, you're not making anything extra. Your check is still the same, but you still have more stuff that they want you to do, maybe on the weekends, later at night during the week. That's just part of the job. We already know that going in, right? And then because you're actively involved in that job, maybe you've gotten a little comfortable and you're like, well, maybe I'll just wait. I'm going to pay some stuff off. I'm going to just wait it out. And then you look, and before you know it, you've been doing this job for maybe 3 to 5 years when you were only supposed to be doing it for 6 months, because you got caught up in the steady check that we want to say, the guaranteed check every 2 weeks or once a month that you're used to getting. So I'm a firm believer that you just need to grind it out. And if you got to do that, if you got to do that 1 day a week to just to kind of keep stuff going, or have some kind of part-time thing, but you're not doing anything full-time, let me just reiterate that, then that's what you need to do. I haven't had to do that at this point in my business, and I hope that I won't have to do that. But if I do, I'm going to do it, because I don't want to have to go back to work. I don't want to do that at all. To me, that is just not an option at all. So that is one of the things that I would recommend. Another thing is, I think that we should always be learning, always be doing some kind of training at least once a day. I would say maybe 30 minutes, 15 to 30 minutes a day, where you're reading a book, or you're learning how to do something that you didn't know how to do before, but you're constantly learning. Because that learning power is going to help you be more innovative, where you'll be able to pick and choose different things that you've learned in this particular field that you can bring over to your actual business and be like, I like the way they did that, but I could do that over here. And I know many of times that I have been able to do that, just seeing different things and be like, oh, that would be an awesome idea for this. But it's because I was in doing things that outside of my comfort zone. I'm still in the learning, always learning and being able to put things together, because like I'm an engineer. I mean, I'm a trained problem solver as it is. So I look for those kind of things, because I know we used to do that at work, that you would see something worked in another industry and then you would bring it over to the industry that you're in because it worked over there, but you're using it for a totally different thing, but it's the same kind of premise. So that's kind of similar to the things that I would want to recommend that you do too. Another thing I would recommend that you do is to have some kind of coach or accountability partner that's going to hold you accountable, because I'm sure you guys have seen that, somebody's supposed to do something. You'll be like, I can't believe they didn't do that. I don't know why they wouldn't do that. And then when it comes to you, you'll just let yourself, well, I'm tired today. Oh, the kids had ball games, so I'm not going to have time to do whatever I told myself I was going to do before. Just all the little things that we come up with that Oh, so I wanted to go and recap what I said. So the 3 things that I would recommend that you do is go all in. And if that meant that, more than likely that means that you're stopped doing what you're doing, or you're going to have some kind of part-time job where you can really still focus on the business that you're working to create, but you want to make sure that that's not going to overwhelm you like a full-time job would be, if you just need to make sure you got some money coming in. Another thing would be to constantly be learning. So you want to make sure that you're taking time to read a book or learn a different process or be a part of some kind of webinar, something like that, that's going to help expand your knowledge base. And then last, but definitely not least, you want to have some kind of accountability partner or coach that's going to hold you accountable for your dreams and your goals. So make sure that you're doing that so you can do that, because we oftentimes will let ourselves off the hook more so than we would let somebody else off the hook.
I love how you've been able to tell us the tricks and tips, because I always say that when someone is in a full-time job, unfortunately, space and energy in their head is stolen to whoever the employer is. And
Right.
that's when I think it's a good question to say, well, what if I earn much less, but at least I do something repetitive that is not using your mental
Brain power.
capacity.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're not hijacked, and you could maybe even work on your business because no one knows what's going on in your head. I
Right.
chose that path, but I absolutely heard from you, getting a coach so your mind is straight and applying ideas from somewhere else. There's nothing new under the sun.
Right.
Taking away feeling safe. Tell us how many, because you said you didn't want the family to suffer or experience lack. How many did you sustain at that point when you've done this transition?
Well, the first part of it is I was able to, when I got laid off, because I had worked there so long, I had a severance package. So I was able to, I had that. And I had some runway with growing my business with that. And then when that ran out, I supplemented my income with my some of my savings that I had too. So it definitely is a process when it comes to doing the online thing. Well, but not online thing, I'll just say entrepreneur thing, because as entrepreneurs, we're very optimistic how quickly things are going to happen. And it often does not happen as quickly as we would like it to. So being able, and that's why I was talking about having some way to supplement your income until you really get it up and going. If you have a savings or something like that, or like I said, have some kind of, like you said, a monotonous job that's really not taking away your brain power, but it is able to bring you some money in that would allow you to still grow your business the way you want it to.
Wonderful. I think it's a big one for a lot of people to experience the roller coaster of funds flowing in
Yeah.
regularly, whereas a weekly, monthly paycheck is keeping things so safe. I say too safe.
Yeah, but I think it also comes down to, and I think this is oftentimes what people don't want to do, is you have to discipline yourself to really figure out how is my money coming in? What is influencing my cash flow? For example, I know I was talking with my coach, and we were talking about doing different marketing type, how many webinars I should do a month, how many podcasts should I do a month, and having those kind of things. You're aware of those kind of things so you can make that change and then be able to track those ratios. Well, when I did this podcast, I got this kind of cash flow in, or when I did this webinar, I got this kind of cash flow in. What was different between those two? Was it the target audience? Am I really talking to the people I need to talk to really tweak the type of people or the type of audiences that I'm actually talking to so I can generate more cash flow to really talk to my people? So you have to
I've lost you for a while. I don't know what happened, probably for
it
about
said
20
my
seconds.
internet was unstable. It
Mm.
was like, yeah. So where did I stop that you didn't, where did I stop? Where did the recording stop?
Well, it was about cash flow, knowing
Oh,
your
okay. So
numbers.
knowing
Mm.
your numbers, knowing your ratios, your conversion ratios, knowing what affects your conversion ratios. Is it the number of number of networking events that you participate in? Is it the number of one-on-ones that you have each week? Is it the number of podcasts or YouTube videos that you do? Is it the number of webinars that you participate in each month? Knowing those kind of things so you can really stabilize that income more so, because you're not thinking about that when you're working for somebody else. They're thinking about that, but you're not. You're just collecting your check. So you want to make sure that you're really cognizant of the things that really drive your income and do more of that.
Powerful, very powerful to, it's a homework for every one of us who are serious about business, especially productivity and producing results, because your business will teach you.
Yes, it will.
Unless if you're not ready to learn, you will learn the hard way. But at the end of the day, you will learn this easier or more difficult.
Yeah.
So what is your next big jump, the goal for you, Inga?
Next big goal. It's funny that you say that. Well, I guess I just recently went through a rebranding. I had a course, and see, this is a perfect example. I had a course that I had built out in 2020, really at the end of 2020. And I was working with my coach, and just really felt like the coaching offering that I had was not resonating with my audience. So I felt like I had to do some kind of rebrand to really tweak it and really make it successful. So that's what I've been doing over the last 4 months, is completely rebranding it, making it something that I think people would really resonate with. So initially my course was centered around money mindset, which I think is a very important for people to have. But like I said, it really wasn't resonating with my audience. So now my offering is centered around building relationships, how people can build their business with relationships. So I have a coaching offering that is called the Relationship Accelerator, that helps people treat people like humans and not numbers. So my big goal for that is to have 10 people in my group coaching offering, and then 5 people in my one-on-one offering. So I'm actively building that. Haven't hit that number yet, but that's what I'm working towards as people actively come in. And then I came up with a DIY product. It's called Savvy Survey System. And it's basically for people that have introvert tendencies. They're very passionate about the product that they sell. They love talking to people about it. They're very outgoing. It's the cold outreach that they really struggle with. So I want to help them get off the struggle bus and help them be able to generate leads and talk to people that want to talk to them, not somebody they have to convince that their product is the bomb.com, that the people that they talk to, they feel real, they feel genuine, and they can build authentic relationships with these people that will lead to sales, because the people have already somewhat raised their hand and said, I'm your person. So there's no convincing in making the sale exchange, or, talking about the product and what the product can do and help them.
Wonderful. I think it's all about sometimes matching or attracting that tribe
attracting the tribe, and really just kind of pre-qualifying them, so that that's your person. Because you talking to somebody that's not your person is complete waste of time, because you're not going to convince them to do whatever you want them to do. And then if you convince them to do it, then you're going to have to continue to convince them to use it. And I'm not into the convincing game. I think it's just a waste of time. So find the people that want what you have, find the need and fill it. And then you'll be so much happier and have people around you in your customer base that you actually want, more so than having people you don't want.
Wow, that's beautiful. And I think at that point, if you are listening to us, then it's not about selling anymore. It's a simple transaction between two people. One is serving the other, and almost it becomes detail to pay the bill.
Right, exactly.
And tell me, if this goes well for you, what would you be celebrating in 5 years' time?
What would I be celebrating? I have always had this dream of giving to others, to be able to live off of the 30% that I have. And I'm not saying live frugally. I mean, live well off of 30% of my income, and then be able to give the rest away. So I would love to be able to do that. And that I would definitely see that as successful, being able to have that kind of lifestyle, that I have my family and everything where they're taken care of. And now, as a result of me being able to take care of them, I'm able to give to others. That's one of the biggest dreams that I have, is to be able to give out of my abundance to others and help them along their plight.
Love it, love it. And how will you do that? Have you created ideas or plans to give?
I want it to be centered around women, probably women, more than likely, probably a women's shelter type of platform, where I'm helping women come out of a bad situation, help them to be more independent and be able to provide for themselves, so they can be financially independent, so they can take care of their family, take care of themselves, their family, and their save for their family's future, and then be able to give out of their abundance too. So it's kind of, I'm not helping them just to pay the bills. I don't want it to be just that. I want them to have enough money that they're able to do that, save for their family's future too, and still be able to give out of their abundance, because that's the life that I want to live. And I want to provide them that opportunity to live that same life as well.
This is impact. And be careful, because I hold people to.
You're going to hold me to it? Inga, you remember you said this on May 1st, 2023. This is what you said. Yeah.
Yeah, probably you'll get a call from me in 2027.
There you go.
Because I keep people on their course, on their own agendas.
Yes, for sure. I appreciate that accountability. Keep me on track.
So who is an ideal client, a customer for you? Is this someone who is, tell us, so at least people on this recording, listening, could identify themselves, if that's the case.
Right. So I call it female cash is what I call it. And female cash stands for coaches, authors, speakers, and home-based business owners. And just so you know, the reason that I chose those type of women is because I know one thing is that they are their brand. So when it comes down to them looking a certain way or interacting with people, it is very important to them how their appearance, not saying that it has to be overly, I want them to feel good in their skin. So I'm all about them being confident in what they do and what they represent. So that's first and foremost. The second thing is because I am I call myself a social introvert, I definitely want to help my fellow introvert folks to be successful in a direct sales, MLM, or network marketing type of business, so that they know that they don't have to be an extrovert to excel in these type of business. Because oftentimes when you see people on stage, they're oftentimes extroverted, or maybe they were extroverted enough to build a business. And I don't want people to feel like they have to be that way. I want people to feel good in their skin, be able to use their innate gifts that they have, and still be able to build a growing business without having to do it that way. And really be able to treat people like people, because I think when we do that, our business is going to naturally grow anyway. Because I know in my plight with direct sales, people have told me that, you know, if somebody tells you no, you go back and follow up with them again. Now, there's a way that you can do that, but I think the way that I was taught is not the necessarily way that an introvert would do it. Okay. I think it's very important to build a relationship with somebody. And you may say, oh, by the way, you know, I was thinking about you. I know it's been a minute since we talked about this. You told me, let them know that you heard them. You told me that you weren't interested, you know, maybe 3 or 4 months ago. I know some things in your life has changed. Have you considered doing it now? Something like that. But oftentimes it's not like that. It's just, we're just being a bugaboo. We're calling them and nagging them, even though we're not even letting them know that we heard them say no. It's just, hey, I was just thinking about you. You were on my heart today, and I just wanted to see if you were interested in the business. I mean, we don't know what's going on with their life. We know nothing about them. We're not interacting with them. So we have no idea if this would be a time, or if they would even be interested, or they truly do not want to have nothing to do with it at all. Because you have people like that. They would rather buy it and sell any day. So really just really being cognizant of those people and their wishes, and being able to build those relationships so you know what's going on. So you're not being that bugaboo. You're not being that nag. So I wanted to just help people that are introverted be successful in direct sales and do it their way with their God-given attributes, not that they have to change themselves to make it happen, and just work it out the way they can. So then they can bring other people up that are also introverted to do the same.
Wow, this is so relevant. I should have talked to you probably 10, 15 years ago when I was taught certain things to build a network marketing business, and I was not aware of how to build relationships, and probably I lost a few along the process.
Oh, I did too. I know I have too. But you know, when you learn better, you do better. So that's definitely what I want everyone to know, that you can do it. It's going to be a different type of skill set for you to do it, but it is possible.
All in all, I always see personal brand, a personal business to express yourself. Would you agree? Where there's no rules. There's no other companies' rules that you need to play by. There's no, you create your own rules. It creates so much freedom. As long as you create value, that I sometimes think, how powerful is this century, the 21st century, where you are connected to all over, the planet with Zoom, or how we are talking now in two
Right.
different continents, and you can make a difference, massive
Yes.
difference in people's life. What's your take on this?
Yeah, I totally agree. That's one thing that I am grateful for that came out of COVID is the global walls have definitely been knocked down. I mean, you can pretty much talk to anybody as long as you got an internet connection and you got the right time coordination, right? I just think it's awesome that you're able to do that. Just like us, we met at a networking event. And we probably would have never crossed paths otherwise. Typically before the pandemic, I know I was building my business locally. If you weren't within a 2-hour radius of me, I probably wouldn't have even talked to you about my business. Now you don't have that limitation. You can pretty much talk to anybody, anywhere, at any time, as long as you have an internet connection. And it doesn't even have to have a computer. I mean, you can be on your cell phone and do it if you need to be. So I just think that is so phenomenal. And we need to take advantage of this great opportunity that we're in. We have no excuse now on, the number of people that we interact with. If you feel like the people in your area are not your people, then talk to some people somewhere else. I mean, you got virtual networking events where you can talk to people all over the United States and several different countries if you want to. You just have to be open enough to make that decision, find out when they meet, put the time in your schedule and make it happen, instead of just whining about it and saying that there's no people out here. There are plenty of people out here. And you just have to just make the time and effort to put it into action and not just whine about it. So I'm a firm believer that you can make whatever you want to make happen. It's just, you just got to be willing to put the time and effort to make it happen.
Yes, I agree. Keep showing up. If
That's
you're
right.
serious about your outcomes, then
Consistently, not today you're going to do it and then you're going to stop. And then you're going to wait till the first of the next month to do it. No, we're not talking about that. We're talking consistently. We're also talking consistently that you're tracking what you're doing and kind of figuring out and looking over the things that you're doing. You're not just haphazardly just doing stuff. You're doing it with purpose. Well, I did this week. What happened when I did that? Okay, so, oh yeah, well, I like that result. So how can I repeat that again? So it's done with intention. It's not done haphazardly. You do have a strategy to it. You're talking to other people, getting different ideas, have an accountability partner, a coach that will help you along the way to help you innovate those ideas to really make your dream come true.
Now, this is the blueprint to allow a person or brand from wherever you are to become a worldwide brand within maybe a few years. Now,
Yeah,
you choose whether you impact a couple of thousand people,
right.
or you impact possibly or potentially hundreds of thousands or millions, or
Millions, that's
who
right.
knows how many hundreds of millions or even more, because
Right.
the intention is behind it. You've got a message. Also, probably you need to look at personal branding so you stand out.
Exactly.
But tell me, what time is coming up, and I was amazed that you're telling us that if you have internet, we were disconnected twice, but
Yeah,
I'm so
exactly.
proud of you and me that we are flowing
We
through
saw
this
it through. That's right. We saw it through.
regardless
Yep.
of life's realities.
Yep.
And in the 21st century, I would expect more. But
Yep.
hey, this is life where things do not always work out the way you want to, but situations, life will always ask you, are you staying on the plan? And we met today, and I hope you're on the same page to create
Oh,
value for the audience
totally.
to really get something to take away and
Yes.
shift your results, shift your life. What else would you want to share that
I would
can't leave you
just in
with?
you bringing that up is you got to be flexible, that it's not going to always happen exactly the way that you planned it to happen. And just because it didn't happen that way doesn't mean that you're supposed to stop and not do it. I've seen a lot of people do that, people that I've worked with and within my business and coaching clients, that because something didn't happen the way they had planned it out, maybe they were supposed to reach a certain goal, I don't know, by April 30th. So let's say that, since this is the beginning of the month. Well, oh, you feel like you got to stop now. This is not for you because it didn't happen April 30th. No, dude, come on now. This is real life. Just like we experienced with this podcast. We got knocked off twice because of the internet. Does that mean that that's a sign that we need to stop doing it? That is not meant to happen? No, you see it through. And that's what you're going to have to do with business, or, just really life in general. There are going to be some things that you're going to have to go through, and it's going to help you grow and expand you and really grow your persistence. It's not meant to stop you. It's meant to grow you. And I think that's so important for people to realize. And then also, I wanted to reiterate the importance of failing. You want to fail as fast as you can. Why do I say that? Because the faster you fail, the quicker you'll get the success. Because failure is feedback. And it's basically just telling you, hey, whatever you just did, that's not it. So you need to try again. And then once you get it, once you figure it out, it's just like, oh, wow. That's really just for your ego to know, oh, well, I figured this out. Now it's time to find out something else that I don't know and have to figure that out next too, because that is just a never ending staircase of the next level that you will go to. You can't, it's a whole bunch of clouds. You never see the top of it because it's always another level. And know that for you to go to the next level, you're going to have to fail. You're going to have to tweak. You're going to have to repeat. And just keep doing it until you have that success. And then once you do that, you'll strive for another level. And it's okay.
Ingafay, there's so much wisdom in you. It's wonderful to have you on this podcast. And just this last one, I really want to give the people back who are watching and listening to us that, as Inga said, you have so much freedom to label any experience, whether systems are working, whatever's happening that you could call failure, you could really call it a step toward success. And you have the freedom in your head to make that decision. No one else out there.
For sure.
I love connecting with you, and I hope we will release this very soon, because I want people to know your amazing stories, your wisdom, and I hope to share it with millions of people in the next few years. Thank you very much.
Yes, I'm looking forward to doing that too. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.